By 2006, Need for Speed fans were spoiled with some of the best installments the series had to offer. The Hot Pursuit games combined thrilling racing and intense cop chases. The Underground games gave players more creative freedom with deep customization. And Most Wanted 2005 provided a gritty story, filled with tension, attitude, and white-knuckle pursuits. And after recently doing a retrospective on the latter, it made perfect sense to follow up with its less celebrated sequel, Need for Speed Carbon. For many fans, this game didn't reach the same heights, despite having a loyal following of its own. In this video, I'm going to find out whether the criticisms of this game are fair, or if Carbon deserves more credit. My name is OneHip, and thanks for clicking on this video. For context, I played this one many years ago as a teen with both my hips, but I couldn't tell you what I remember from it, so I'm going into this one with fresh eyes as a grown man with one hip. Anyway, here's my Need for Speed Carbon retrospective. Let's go! Need for Speed Carbon launched between late October and mid-November 2006 on a wide range of platforms, including the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Windows and Mac, the Wii, GameCube, PS2, and Xbox. A handheld version called Need for Speed Carbon Own the City was released on PSP, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, and even the Zeebo, which was released in Brazil and Mexico. Let me know in the comments if you had one of these. Global VR also developed and published an arcade version of the game, and Rovio Mobile developed a mobile port. Yes, this is the same Rovio Mobile that handled Angry Birds. Like Most Wanted and the Underground games, all of the console versions as well as the Windows edition of Carbon was developed by EA Black Box. Trans Gaming developed the macOS port. All ports except for the arcade version were published by EA. A collector's edition of the game was released for PS2, Windows and Xbox 360 later on, with exclusive cars and events, as well as a bonus DVD on the making of the game. The game was released to mostly positive reviews. Critics praised Carbon's expanded full-motion video sequences, solid racing mechanics, and deep customization options, but criticised it for its lesser focus on police pursuits and its frustrating boss battles, both are things that I'll touch on later in the video. The game sold a total of 7.6 million units worldwide, going double platinum on the PlayStation 2. It was also nominated for Racing Game of the Year at the annual Interactive Achievement Awards, now known as the DICE Awards. While not selling as many copies as its predecessor, it was enough for EA to greenlight another installment in the series called Need for Speed Pro Street, which was released a year later. If you'd like a retrospective on this game in the future, please comment below. For this retrospective, I played the Xbox 360 version via the Xenia emulator on my PC, and the game looks and handles really well on it, as I'll explore further. In Carbon, cars are divided into three classes: Tuner, Exotic, and Muscle, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Tuner cars handle the best but have the weakest acceleration and top speed. Exotic cars have the highest top speed but suffer from less responsive handling. And Muscle cars have the best acceleration, but their handling and cornering is often unpredictable. I found driving to be solid for all classes, with my favourite being Tuner cars. Their cornering ability made them perfect for shortcuts and technical races. Returning features from Most Wanted include the SMS and voicemail systems, Speed Breaker, and police pursuits. Pursuits bring back elements like heat levels, pursuit breakers, and cooldown zones after evasion. You can hold off police by ramming or evading them, and the higher your heat level, the more tactics they'll employ to take you down, including roadblocks, spike strips, and eventually state and federal authorities. Get busted, and you either have to pay a fine or have an impound strike placed on your car. Rack up 3 of these, and your car is gone for good. Lose all of your cars, and the game is over. Police can pursue you in free roam or during and after an event. Police chases feel noticeably de-emphasized here. There's no bounty system, and you're never really required to engage with the pursuit mechanics to progress. In a way, it's good that you don't have to grind for bounty to progress further, but it also makes police chases feel pointless. I found that they had no purpose in the game, and this feature could have been removed entirely if I'm being honest. One of Carbon's biggest new features is the wingman system. You can recruit teammates, with each one having a role and a specialty. Roles include blockers that do what they say on the tin, blocking opponents' cars. Drafters give you a slipstream to catch to increase your speed, and scouts search for shortcuts and alternate paths to the finish line. Scouts are the only role that have no cooldown limit. Specialties include Fixer, which lowers or eliminates heat on your car. Fabricators make Autosculpt kits for your car, which I'll touch on later. And mechanics decrease part and vehicle prices, and they help increase the speed that your nitrous and speed breaker refills. You can hire and fire wingmen over time, and you can recruit a new one from another crew when you defeat their leader in boss events. It's a neat concept, even if its utility varies depending on your style of play. One thing that caught me off guard was how quickly I progressed through the story. Within an hour, I was already 12% into the career. For comparison, I was only 4% into Most Wanted after the same amount of time. This makes sense, with reports that EA pressured Black Box to cut content so the game could meet its release window, and you can definitely feel that in the pacing of the campaign. Visually, the game looks terrific upscaled to 1080p on my emulator, and I really like the much cooler contrasts of Palmont's night setting, a stark shift from the warmer tones of Rockport. The game brings back FMV sequences with new characters and a couple of returning ones from Most Wanted. Carbon was also the first Need for Speed game to feature facial animations for the PC and 7th gen versions, although I did find seeing 3D version of the characters quite jarring after seeing FMV versions of them in earlier scenes. And surprisingly, there's a photo mode, which would have been a rare feature back in 2006. Despite the creepy animations, Carbon is still a stylish and distinct looking game. Thank you for still being with me. I hope you're enjoying this retrospective so far. I'm still a very small creator, so if you like what you see, give this video a like, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Anyway, let's talk about Carbon's structure. Carbon is set in a new city called Palmont, and the series returns to its nighttime aesthetic after Most Wanted's sunny streets. The city is divided into 4 boroughs, including Downtown, Fortuna, Kempton, and Silverton, all controlled by a rival crew, including Bushido, led by Kenji, the 21st Street crew led by Angie, TFK led by Wolf, and finally, the Stacked Deck led by Darius, the game's main antagonist. Each borough contains its own territory system that you must conquer by winning events. You start in a different district depending on your chosen car class. And for my playthrough, I began in Fortuna with an exotic, the Alfa Romeo Brera. The map also has 3 canyons called East, West, and the game's namesake, Carbon. These aren't connected to the main map, but they host their own events, including some of the most memorable races in the game. Career mode is the core experience, and where I spent nearly all of my time. Other options include Quick Race and online custom and quick matches, although the servers were shut down in September 2021, so I wasn't able to test them. The Challenge series also makes a return, offering 12 event categories with 3 difficulty tiers each. Completing these earns you unlockables like new cars and customization options for use in career. And there are also reward cards, which act as in-game achievements. The story kicks off with a flashback sequence. Years earlier, your character took part in a high-stakes race for a major cash prize. The event was ambushed by police, and you and your then-girlfriend Nikki managed to escape with the help of Darius. You were handed a briefcase, supposedly full of cash, only to discover it contained paper, framed for sabotaging the race. You fled Palmont. In the present day, after escaping Rockport as the #1 on the Most Wanted blacklist, you return, driving your iconic BMW M3 GTR, and you're immediately chased by Most Wanted's Sergeant Cross. Your car is totaled, and just before you're arrested for your $150,000 bounty, you're saved by Darius and Nikki, who's now with him. Darius recruits you to help take back the city. From there, you pick a starter car, complete a wingman tutorial, evade the cops, access your safe house, recruit your first teammate named Neville, a blocker, and create your crew name and logo. The campaign progresses as you defeat rival crews, take their turf, and challenge their leaders in a series of escalating events. To win territory, either you or your wingman must place first in the event. These events include familiar ones, such as Circuit, Sprint, Speed Trap, and Checkpoint, which is a rebranded version of Toll Booth. Drifts make a welcome return to the franchise, but they're much easier than earlier iterations, with just the light touch and hold of the left joystick required to initiate and hold a drift. New event types include race wars, which are circuits with a large number of participants, rival crew challenges, where you race a rival to an endpoint during free roam when challenged, and the standout feature, canyon duels. These are tense one-on-one battles along narrow mountain roads. The event is split into 2 stages. In the first, you chase your opponent down the canyon, and in the second, the roles reverse. Points are earned based on how close you stay to your opponent, and the player with the most points across both stages wins. There is a twist, however. If you crash through a destructible barricade or fall too far behind for too long, the event ends immediately. These duels are exhilarating, risky, and absolutely one of Carbon's best additions. Once you win the majority of races in a burrow, your crew takes control. However, rival crews can challenge you to reclaim their turf. If you accept, you'll need to win a defense race to retain your territory. If you lose or decline the challenge, that means that section is taken back. Thankfully, you can always reclaim it later by winning again. After securing every territory in a burrow, you face that crew's leader in 2 boss events, a regular race and a canyon duel. Winning boss events rewards you with 2 markers, just like in Most Wanted. These can grant you visual upgrades, cash bonuses, get out of jail free cards, extra impound markers, and if you're lucky, the pink slip to your rival's car. I was able to win Wolf's car this way, which was a great early boost. The overall story, though, doesn't hit as hard as Most Wanted. The stakes feel lower, and the characters, aside from Nikki, just aren't as memorable. And yes, she's a baddie. Climbing the blacklist felt more rewarding to me than trying to take over districts and Carbon. In Most Wanted, every rival felt like a unique personality standing in your way, complete with their own cars, voice lines, and stylized FMV intros. The territory system in this game feels more mechanical, and progression is tied more to the map than rivalries. What made Most Wanted so captivating was the high attention and personal drive to advance, which Carbon sadly lacks. Carbon brings back visual and performance upgrades, and like in the previous game, changing visual parts lowers your police heat. You can customize your vehicles to suit your style, and more vehicles become available in the car lot as you progress. A nifty feature added is called Autosculpt, where your fabricator can take existing parts, such as body kits and spoilers, and fabricate them into custom versions. You can also choose zones in the area to add them onto your vehicle. For example, you can place your fabricated spoiler high up or a little bit lower. It kind of reminded me of crafting elements in RPGs, and I really liked how hands-on this feature felt. The soundtrack varies depending on which car you picked at the start of Korea. For my exotic playthrough, the soundtrack leaned into hip-hop, with tracks like No Love by Roots Maneuver, Hype Boy by Sway, and Girl Fight by Tigera. Punk and alternative rock play in the muscle class, with tracks like Joker and the Thief by Wolfmother, Don't Speak, I Came to Make a Bang by Eagles of Death Metal, and Around the Horn by the Bronx. As for the tuner class, you get an electronica soundtrack, with tracks like Sugar by Ladytron, Feel the Rush by Melody, and Steamworks by fellow Aussies The Presets. You'll also hear original score tracks kick in during police pursuits and boss events, which do a solid job of adding tension and atmosphere. I found this segmentation of genres very interesting, but I wish I could listen to the songs during events, as these only played during free roam and checkpoint races. It's not the most memorable Need for Speed soundtrack, but it fits the cool nighttime energy of Palmont with its style and mood. Need for Speed Carbon isn't the most iconic game in the series, but it is one of the more interesting ones. Released just a year later after Most Wanted, it tried to evolve the formula with new systems like Wingman, Autosculpt, and Canyon Duels, while shifting the tone back to a darker and more stylized world. It didn't land with the same impact as before. Critics and players were mixed. Some loved the new ideas, while others felt it lacked the personality and structure of its predecessor. The shorter campaign, weaker story, and reduced focus on police chases held this one back for many players. But in hindsight, I feel that Carbon was caught between eras. It was the last real street racing entry before the series pivoted into the more grounded motorsport style approach of Pro Street. It tried to carry the underground energy forward while pushing into next-gen territory. Despite this, Carbon has built a bit of a cult following over the years. For some players, it was their first Need for Speed game. Others just loved the nighttime aesthetic, the atmosphere of Palmont, or the challenge of Canyon Duels. It's not Most Wanted, and it's not underground, but it carved out its own lane. Playing this again after many years, I'd say Carbon is a decent installment in the franchise. Is it perfect? No. Does it have its flaws? definitely. But it is also stylish, fast, and unique in ways the series hasn't really replicated since. Thanks so much for watching. What are your memories of Need for Speed Carbon? Would you like to see retrospectives on later NFS titles like Pro Street? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to give it a like and share it with those who may enjoy this kind of content. For more retrospectives like this, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. There are also channel memberships and a Ko-fi page if you'd like to support the channel further, but you staying with me till the end of the video is a huge help in itself. My name is OneHip, and you have a good one. Bye!